Great, great. That's lovely. So you talk about the gift of the wonderful optimism and the great attitude. Were there any special words of wisdom or anything that you can remember, any meaningful words that you had received from families or others that had provided an inspiration in your artwork today?
I'm sure I'll come up with something. I can't think of anything right now, but I know there is, because it was, I think also just the spirit of both those artists and the spirit of my grandmother and even my grandfather. I mean, there was a whole issue of whether I would change my name or not. And finally, I was asked, well, what's it going to be? Because I was about to get married, and I said, well, what's it going to be? And I said, I think I'm just going to keep my name, because that's the name I was born with, and everybody knows that's my name, and there's no point in changing, and it's somehow more confusing. And so my step-grandmother at the time was at the end of her fuse that day and just stormed up out of the room and couldn't deal with it or whatever. But my grandfather looked at me, and I was so shy at the time. I was my head was down thinking, oh God, what's he going to say? And he said, actually, well, if Matisse doesn't work, just choose another name. So he was completely, it didn't matter to him what name I chose. What mattered to him that I do the work that I wanted to do. So he was very behind me, and my grandmother was very behind me too. She, in fact, told me to keep my name. Teeny did. So that was a nice support to have.
Absolutely. And you can tell with the dedication of work in the family.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was first and foremost. And
yeah, absolutely.
Great to hear.
To deal with it and live with it and do what you want to do.
Great, great. Now, can you share an example, Sophie, of a time where you have carried on the traditional artistic work, maybe of your father or your great-grandfather, while creating a very unique style of your own? And what I mean by that is we know that everything that you actually, artistically put out is your own style. Is there something that stands out more prominently that has carried maybe some of the traditional aspects of maybe your father or your grandfather in the work that you did?
I think in the sense of pulling a painting through to its entirety and the sense of perfection that I always feel obliged to accomplish does come from my father and my great-grandfather. It's difficult because influences come from all over, and it's hard sometimes to pinpoint where exactly they come from, but there's parts of it that come from Marcel, there's parts of it that come from my father, and there's a very, very intimate, kind of more profound part that comes from Matisse, obviously, that has a lot to do with color and light and line, and it's just very deep and something that's really hard for me to articulate, actually, but there's definitely a lot of aspects from him, but also a lot of interesting influences that come from Marcel as well. I mean, hence the chessboards. So
lovely. That's great to hear. Do you? We kind of talked about the work, kind of growing up in a family where that work was just really, it's all about the work and doing that. But would you consider yourself an artist of change? It seems like that your grandfather, you kind of came from kind of a revolutionary type.
Yeah,
if they didn't have it, for instance, your father created his own tools.
Right, exactly.
So
he was a real original, yeah.
Yes.
Is, yeah.
So would you consider yourself kind of like one of those artists of change, meaning one that might try to make something uniquely different and kind of takes chances?
Yeah, well, I do feel like I take chances. I hope that I will be, or that I am. I don't know. Sometimes I think we know only after the fact. So I hope so. I would like to be, yes.
Okay, great. And your chess sets, I wanted to talk about that. They're such a coveted collector's item. It's so vibrant and beautiful. Why choose chess sets? Tell us a little bit about how you got to do that.
Well, chess sets, play a big role in my family. When we were little, we were all taught how to play chess, and we played chess with my grandmother, we played chess with my father. Marcel was a huge chess player. He was completely obsessed by chess, and which was funny now, but maybe at the time a little less fun. Actually, he thought it was funny, so that's all that counts. But I think I like the aspect. I started playing chess more seriously recently, and I like the way that it stretches your mind in ways that I would never expect, and it opens one's mind as to see all kinds of different aspects of life. And that's what I love about it, and that's what drew me to bring the color onto the board to kind of represent that there are different dimensions to chess, and many more than we would possibly imagine. So if you start playing chess, you'll see, I don't know if you're a chess player, but it's definitely a worthwhile pursuit.